Yeah. He was the what? Yeah. I'm Alyson Greenfield, and I teach in the English department at Hunter College. And today what I did is something that I really like to do with my students, which is really about embodying the work that we're studying to get them more into it. Because I think a lot of times with teaching, or we think of the university settings, we're thinking about students sitting in classrooms, teacher at the front. So there's like a power dynamic in that. And there's also, it's kind of like head up teaching or thinking. And so students aren't in the rest of their bodies, and we like live in our bodies, right? And so what I find is that when I get the students to actually use their bodies by standing up or clapping or stomping, or we also did some movement sequences with another piece of writing, is that they start to actually get into it, and they also report back that they understand it better, which is really exciting because they come into this class sometimes say, oh, I don't really like reading, I don't like poetry. And then like today during the class, people were saying like, oh, it brought the poem to life, right? So it's like doing something that is taking it off of the page, really even out of their minds and like into their bodies to have an actual experience with it. And I think it's just more experiential learning, which then caters to differentiation in education because students learn in lots of different ways. I think that actually helps the learning environment when you kind of bring that back. And so we're back, and at first they might like, oh, okay, we're going to do this thing. And then once they see that it actually is a space where they can engage in that, it's almost like things happen that I never even expect. After we did that exercise, there was a poetry slam. And so students who have been really quiet, and I was actually maybe a little bit worried, like, would they want to engage in this? They had this just passionate, powerful poems about their heritage or things that they care about in their lives, in education, in terms of feminism or transgender issues. Like all of these things came to light that were really beautiful. And I think by having them engage in this more embodied experience with poetry, with the written word, and putting their bodies into motion and having this communal experience also with everyone, that it lets them maybe tap into their own thoughts more and helps them express themselves from engaging more with other people's expressions of writing. So something that I think was important and why I like to use this Blair poem called Cry Slur in this exercise is that there's already onomatopoeia in it. So we're just reading it. It says boom, click, bang, which can be just words. But I think it's important and interesting and exciting to actually embody that. So, you know, I asked, instead of saying, well, let's do a stomp for a boom, I asked the class, what, you know, if you were just expressing this word without using a word, what's it going to be? So stomp, you know, so we got this like, and then we're creating this rhythm, we're creating this sound, like we're giving it, you know, the mechanics of rhythm that I personally think the poem was alluding to. But again, if you're just reading it in your head and you go through it, it might not be like that. I'm very interested in, especially in a literature class, expressing words without words. So that's why I do things through movement and through sound so that students can actually feel it. And usually they do report back like, again, it brought this writing to life, or now I think I kind of understand where that person was coming from, because I think words actually can like live beyond just their written form. And I think that informs how the students can understand. So I think that by having the words transcend just their letters or their written form, by us embodying the sounds, either through making the sounds or movements of words, then I think what it does is it takes the words beyond the page and get students to like use them in their bodies. And so I think it can help really get them to possibly a deeper understanding of what the poet or the author was intending and how they can connect to it. And then hopefully how they can also connect to their own thoughts, especially through their writing and communication.